Welcome to another live edition of Saturday's Warrior. I'm Trevor, and I got Adam with me. And on this channel, we talk all things BYU, and we love talking Big 12. Tonight, we are really hyped about the upcoming season, and so we're going to go through the entire schedule, and the two of us have our own rankings, and we're going to rank the games that we're most hyped about from least hyped to most hyped, and go through and discuss that. And then also we're going to do I think we have to keep on schedule, maybe a super condensed version of the replayables this week and just touch upon what were some really good games in Oklahoma State and the UCF and a look back at our wins last year as we get looking forward to this upcoming season. But before we get into any of that, Adam, I got to tell you, right before we're hopping on, BYU announced their uniform lineup for this upcoming seaon.
Oh, that's big news.
Oh, it's really big news. It's exciting. I love that they do it early. You know, some people, that's not working.
No, it looks great.
They'll wait until the season, do one at a time. Or, you know, I remember having to wait until that week. And now BYU just rolls it all out. And I love it. We can get hyped. One more thing to get hyped about. So,
yeah.
What are your initial reactions? And then I'll let you know what I'm thinking here.
Well, first of all, if we're going to do Navy, that's probably my favorite Navy combo. So I like that. I don't like opening with Navy. We've opened with a lot of Royal the last couple of years, and I like that. But since that's our FCS opponent, not bad to open in Navy. The all Royal, everything against Utah is great. I love the Royal Oreo. That's my favorite away uniform combo, and it looks like we got it on there twice, if I'm not mistaken. If that Glasker is... He's got kind of a long shirt going on there, but I assume both Arizona and Iowa State are that combo. So overall, a strong lineup. I like it.
The white stripe here, yeah. So that's blue pants.
Oh, I like the whiteout against Colorado. Little homage to the Alamo Bowl.
That's true. I didn't catch that.
So that's a good lineup overall. I like it. Royal heavy.
Yeah, you're really quick. That's exactly what I was going to say. One Navy. Perfect. I think it was Jackson Payne, our friend of the show, said that's the perfect percentage of Navy uniforms to Royal, and I completely agree. I think that's one of his best takes yet, and he's had many good ones. But just looking at this, though, I prefer the most traditional looks. I'm talking about the white helmet, and then you got either the Royal jersey or the Royal pants, so one of these two. And then I'm also good with the whiteout. Again, I like your call out to Colorado there. I think the newer tradition of going the color rush against Utah, and I'm sure they'll do the same in all red, is a nice touch. So I just would prefer more of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's less than half is going to have my preferred helmet, and then even
traditional helmet.
Yeah, and this is actually with the traditional helmet that I don't love the look of the double Royal.
I agree. I agree with that. I think it's a crisp look what they have against UCF, or excuse me, TCU, and I'd rather see that twice than the Royal pants, Royal jersey, and traditional helmet. But I don't love the white helmet with the white face mask. I'll say it's okay on the whiteout like they have against Colorado. That's okay, but the Maury Bamba combo there against Stanford, I don't love. It's okay. And I'm not a Navy hater as much as others. I don't mind some Navy in there. I don't mind a couple games, but you got to do it right. The all-out Navy is not my favorite. It can look crisp if it's Navy pants, white jersey. I like the Navy helmet a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is Navy, right? It's hard to tell. It's a little bit darker. So I prefer keeping the color just to Utah. No, I think this is Royal.
Yeah, that one's Royal.
Yeah, it was just shadow. But yeah, I don't know. I prefer not to have another color rush there. And I am less particular about face masks than some people, but I can see your point there. I'm with you on that. But yeah, in terms of white helmet, this is my least favorite look. And also I saw from BYU Uniform Tracker that this look, which look was it? Is the first time that I can't remember now. I
Mm.
want to say this one with LJ Martin, maybe, but that's not true. I can't remember. But one of them was the first time they're rolling it out for a long time. So anyway,
Also notable is no blackout game. That's 2 years in a row we haven't had a blackout game.
that's good.
And I don't love the blackout games, but the black helmet with the royal face mask is incredible. I love that combo for a helmet. I'd almost take that helmet and put it on other color combinations because I love that helmet combo. The the rest of the blackout uni is okay. It's kind of fun to do it once in a while, but I miss that helmet.
Yeah, I think it's best when it's just done sparingly because then you get that contrast and it's kind of fun and exciting. It's got to be the right matchup and you pull it out. But for me, I think we do black is a big trend. Everyone does it, whether it's part of their color scheme or not. And I think BYU does it really well. I just think these other looks are still that much better. So yeah, use
I
it
agree.
sparingly. And then it would have been fun to have the other, like they had that throwback last year to start incorporating that more and more. But I prefer just kind of keeping it simple. It looks like they didn't try to get too cute this year with too many.
That's true.
Combos.
That's true. It's pretty straightforward. And I don't mind that. I love that drop shadow, and I want to see the Royal jerseys drop shadow from that '96 team at some point. But I agree. We have such a good uniform. We have such a good color combination. I like that we lean into that most years, and then throw in a throwback or a blackout sparingly.
Which is when it's most impactful, right? When it's just used a little bit. They were going a little heavy-handed for a little while, got a little crazy, a little out of hand. So anyway, yeah, great look. This does definitely hype me up. I'm stoked. Actually, this might have been the one. It might have been the West Virginia. It was the first time they're doing white helmet.
Oh yeah, I could see that. I mean, they haven't done that since '96, the James Dye era. I remember them wearing that color combination a couple times.
Yeah, and it's not my favorite, but nonetheless, awesome stuff. So we'll probably come back to this some more throughout this off season as we get hyped up. But speaking of getting hyped up, so this year, here's our schedule laid out for us. So you and I are going to go through, rank all the games, starting from 12, going all the way to 1. And, all right. So Adam, kick us off. What is the game you are least hyped about?
So this is really tough just because I'm hyped for everything right now. We're waiting for football season, but if I had to put one last right now, it's going to be UCF. Last game of the season. UCF is not anticipated to be a great team. I hope there's a lot of meaning in that game for us, that we're vying for a spot in a conference title game or something like that. But I don't know that at this point. And just looking at the opponents on the schedule, it's a home game. It's at the end of the season. There was a big letdown for me in the Houston game last year just because of how things shook out by the time we played that game. And so maybe I'm just having flashbacks from last year. But I see UCF and what they're projected to be. And everybody else we got on the schedule, I have another reason to be excited about. But UCF, I'm excited for every game. I'm just least excited for this one.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I don't have them a whole lot farther. And actually, I'll just go ahead. We'll do it team by team here. I'll tell you my least. First is the one I put last on here is Stanford, and it's mostly because they're not projected to be very good. While it's always fun to beat up on former Pac-12 schools and current ACC schools, two things that I really love. It's not. There's not a lot of hype. There's not a lot of win. It's early in the season, so I'm excited for that, and I'm just excited to be watching football. And but that's about it. I want to see our guys. I'm guessing we might see multiple quarterbacks in the game, so all of that is exciting. I'm hyped for all that, but ultimately, there's not a lot to gain from that win early in the season.
Yeah, and for all the reasons you listed, I put Stanford as 11th. I reserve the right to change this if Bear Bachmeier is our quarterback and he goes against the team that he transferred from.
True.
But outside of that, for all the reasons you listed, Stanford's number 11.
All right. So for my number 11, I put Portland State here. And I actually wanted to put them higher because I'm so hyped. It's the first game of the season. I'm just ready for college football to be back. And that's why I put them ahead of Stanford. Don't know if I could justify putting them much higher just because those games, while they're fun, there's not FCS games just don't have a lot of meaning. And if they do end up becoming a close game and having a lot of meaning, it's not the kind of meaning I want for my season.
Correct. That's correct.
So
a close FCS game to start the year is a bad omen.
Especially against Portland State. So that is why I'm a little bit less hyped.
Yep. Fair enough. I'm going to go Cincy next. Similar to the reasons I listed for UCF, I think Cincy's going to be a better team than UCF. I actually think they may vie. They may be a sleeper team to vie for the title. An experienced quarterback there. They could break through this year. I don't love playing at their stadium. It's small. It's compact. It's got weird camera angles on TV. Not that I'm trying to insult our Cincinnati brethren over there, but it's again late in the season. I feel like we're going to know where we're headed at this point, and unless we've got an undefeated season going into Cincy, then every game matters, So I've got them 10th, although understandably it could be a more exciting game.
Yeah. So at number 10, I agree with you. I've got Cincy. I wasn't even thinking about the camera angles. This was actually a game I'm like half tempted to try to go catch. It's relatively within driving distance from us. We've got family now moving to Ohio to the Dayton area. So thought about, hey, possibly make a trip out of it, go visit some family, go catch the game. But in November, Cincinnati, I don't know about that. But for me, the big thing is just it, like you said, it's late in the season. They're not projected to be great, although they might be better than people are suspecting. And it's kind of a trap game. It's not a game that, like, if they are better than expected, I still don't see them being like a double-digit win type of team, which means a loss or a close win to them isn't going to really help BYU. You got to go all the way to Cincinnati. And I don't know. I just don't see a lot of upside in this game for BYU. And it does feel like it could be a little bit of a trap game.
Well said. For number 9, I've got Portland State, and I ranked them higher only because we have a new quarterback. And we will not know who is the quarterback until someone walks out on that field. Or they tell Greg Wrubell pregame. There's no way someone will say in fall camp who won that job. So only because of that, I have Portland State higher. It's opening day, so there's all kinds of excitement. You hope, like you said, that excitement dies down after the first quarter, and you got a 3-touchdown lead. You hope, but it's still only because of the quarterback controversy. I'll be eyes glued to the television for Portland State.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be all in on all these games. But after this, I went with UCF. And so even though we had a little bit of variance early on, these bottom 4 are all the same. And I went with UCF here because it is at home and the atmosphere is just electric. You can feel it through the TV. And I'm just excited to watch and it's likely going to be a night game. So anytime we get a night game, LaBelle Edwards Stadium, I'm excited for that. But you're right. If it starts feeling a lot like Houston, it's kind of a no-win. But I also thought of the caveat that if it's a crazy year, like people are projecting for the Big 12, it's possible that it comes down to this last game and that BYU could need this win in order to secure a spot in the Big 12 championship. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, next I've got ECU. And ECU is one I'm really excited about because I'm going to go to the game and I get to watch the Cougars in person. But if I look at the schedule and I try and look at it objectively, we're traveling to the East Coast to play a G5 opponent that we have no business losing to or struggling against. And yet we have to travel. We have to play on the East Coast. ECU is a team that has been formidable in the past, that beat us the last time we played. Last 2 times. I was there in 2017 for that debacle. And so I'm super excited to see us in person. But outside of that, if I look at this on the schedule, I may even rank this one lower because I don't love that it's on the schedule to begin with as a BYU fan. I don't want us to play this game. And I hope we come in and handle business and go home. I hope we do, but it worries me.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you on ECU for all those reasons. Here we got some comments here. I got my brother coming in with some insightful comments here. I don't even know what conference Stanford belongs to. Fair point. And let's see, BYU must beat West Virginia to avenge brother Taysom Hill. And actually, we're going to get to West Virginia here in just a second.
Wise words from your brother. Wise words.
And that is one of the reasons why I have West Virginia where I have them. But next up, I actually have Arizona. And this feels like a game that should be a little bit higher. I don't really have a good reason other than they're not projected to be great. It is an in-conference game. It's a school that BYU has some history with. And in recent history, BYU has owned the matchup. And I don't know. We're going to their place. So it could be a tough game. Like, who knows what to expect? They still have a really, really skilled quarterback. So it could be a dangerous game. I don't want to sleep on them. I'm not saying this is going to be necessarily a lock win for BYU. And that's why it's just at this point, preseason game that I'm less interested in than some others. I'm less hyped about it.
And I've got Arizona next for me for the same reasons. I think you could put them in the same category as UCF and Cincy in my book, where they don't have a lot of expectations around the game. But because we played them in the middle of the season, I'm a little bit more looking forward to that. I feel like our season's really going to be in the balance there. You come into that Arizona game and we're starting to find an identity as a team at this point. We know, do we have a chance to put something special together, or are we struggling out of the gate because we can't figure out our quarterback situation and we really need this victory? So there's a little bit more meaning behind it from there. But because of where they're at preseason and what they're projected to be, it doesn't rank super high on my list.
Yeah. And the next one up I have is West Virginia. I said they were coming up soon. Mountaineers here at 7. They could be a little bit higher for me. They also are not projected to be super good, which is partly why I have them this low. But also, I was at the last 2 times, though I think the only 2 times BYU's ever played West Virginia. And, one was a painful close loss, and one was just very painful for all the other reasons. So would love to see BYU get some revenge on West Virginia in that game. So I still got them up there kind of near the middle of the pack, but may not be the most competitive, but should be pretty satisfying if BYU can get the win.
Yeah, and I've got West Virginia next. We're kind of in a pattern now. For the same reasons, I was there the last 2 times they played, did not enjoy the outcome of those games. So it's a night game. West Virginia's got to travel. They got to play in the altitude. I mean, it all points toward BYU coming out in a strong way, and they're really going to need that, right? In their first couple Big 12 games, they need this victory, and that is one of the reasons why it ranked higher. Even though now we're talking about UCF, Cincy, Arizona, West Virginia, those are Big 12 teams that just don't have high projections this year. And in a topsy-turvy conference, who knows? Rich Rod may come out and be the genius that he was 20 years ago and be running all over the conference. But I like our chances in these games. It just doesn't move the hype needle for me as much as the others.
Yeah. Exactly. It's all about hype. So this next game for me has not gotten as much preseason hype, but I think when the time comes, depending on how some things go, it's going to have a lot of hype. And that for me is TCU. This is, old rival who's definitely had our number as of late. And so this is one that, we have that stretch of games. Well, right here, starting with our rival, and then we got to go to Iowa State. Fortunately, there's a bye there. Then we have Texas Tech, followed up by TCU, and they're not getting the same kind of hype as these other teams, but they're just as much in this race this year, I think, as many of these other teams, and definitely could still be in it. And they, for whatever reason, can get up against BYU. I was there when they shellacked us back when we had our quest of perfection. And, so for me, it's hype. I'd love to see BYU get some revenge there, but it definitely feels like a trap game, going off on a long stretch of tough games and then getting this one. So I think this is one that we should definitely be hyped for.
I agree. I don't have them ranked yet. So spoiler alert, they're coming later on for me for similar reasons. I'm really excited about that TCU game. Number 5, I'm actually going to put Iowa State. And that is much lower than I think I would have originally thought. But I've mentioned this before. The scheduling for BYU in regards to the rivalry game was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. you schedule us against Utah in the middle of the season, and then the next week we go and we play the toughest road test on our schedule. I think this is the game we are most likely to lose, regardless of the analytics, just because of the emotion. You saw what happened last year after the Utah game, after a game that we won and Utah lost, and both teams went out and got shellacked in their next game
Yeah.
because of the emotion of that rivalry game. And so I am dreading this game. I have it ranked as high as I do because Iowa State is supposed to be one of the premier teams in the conference. If we're putting together a good season, this game is going to be pivotal for our chances at a Big 12 title. But I don't see how emotionally we recover that quickly from the Utah game, win or lose, and play a team like Iowa State on the road. So frustrated about the schedule, and that's why I put Iowa State so low in terms of it playing a premier team in the Big 12.
Yeah, that's a good point. It really is. It's definitely going to be a tough one. I think a lot of us are already penciling that one in as a loss. So, but this next game, I'm hyped for, but for different reasons. It's because I want to see BYU and Colorado rematch after the bowl game. Obviously, I think Colorado is going to have a lot of turnover. They're going to look very different. Obviously, the news came out about Dion today, Coach Prime. Fortunately, he's healthy at this point, and so now we can not feel too bad about going out there and pummeling Colorado again. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. I really think also this is going to be the first conference game of the season, and so you get to go back, get to see that rematch, and go out there at their house and open up Big 12 play. So I'm pretty hyped about that one. And anytime you're playing Coach Prime, it's a good one.
Agreed. That's why I got them at number 4. Big 12 opener, going to be a big litmus test for us. I like this in this game. I don't think Colorado is rebuilt after losing so many last year and really relied so heavily on star power. They lost that star power. Now who do they turn to? That was their identity. And so they not only lost production, they lost their identity as a team because they were Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter. I mean, that was their team. That was their identity. So I don't know who they're going to be, and that means they may surprise us in a Big 12 opener, but I like our chances out there, and the Alamo Bowl rematch and the prime factor, all that makes this an exciting game.
Yeah, it's definitely be a good one. All right, next one I have is Iowa State. For all the things you said are right, and so maybe this should be lower, but still being a premier matchup. It's a team that has I don't know if the sentiment is still there, but both times BYU tried to get in, Iowa State, their student body made a big stink about it and did not want BYU in. So it's been a fun rivalry in basketball. The last game against Iowa State obviously didn't go how we would have liked it. So it'd be really nice to go. And I'm holding on hope that BYU can, rally together after a big game against Utah and go into Iowa State and play them. But either way, I think there will be a lot riding on the table at this point, because until the Utah game, you got to think BYU's favored in most of those games pretty much all the way through. So this will be outside of Utah, which is always crazy no matter what. This is going to be like the real litmus test and one of the marquee matchups of BYU's schedule.
Yeah. Agreed. Next, I've got TCU, and I put them top 3 for a couple reasons. One, I think that they're for me a sleeper pick to go to the Big 12 championship game. I think this team bounces back. Remember, they were in the national title recently, have struggled since then, but I like Hoover. I think he can put it together. He made a big splash saying no to Tennessee in the offseason and sticking with TCU. I think they're going to put together a run that not a lot of people are expecting. They've had a couple down years. They're kind of due for that bounce back year. And with an experienced quarterback like Hoover, I think they're a dangerous, dangerous team. And so when they come to our field, there's going to be huge implications in that game, I hope, if BYU can put it together. The second reason I'm excited is that I think it's a litmus test. We got shellacked by TCU at TCU in our first year in the Big 12. It really showed that we were just not quite prepared to compete. It was after that game where I thought, oh my goodness, it's going to be like 4 or 5 years before we have a winning program again. And then last year happened. So I think this is a really good measuring stick to say, where's BYU as a program? Where's their defense at? Can they contain Hoover, who came in remember that was his first game and he throws for a gazillion yards and everybody thinks he's a Heisman candidate. And so can we contain him? Can we play better against him? I think it'll be a really fun game to see because of that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Definitely one to watch out for and one I am nervous for. So let's see. My number 3 pick is actually TCU or Texas Tech here. I obviously, just like Iowa State, one of the marquee matchups on the schedule that we have. And it's going to be a real good one. And both BYU and Texas Tech have kind of emerged between NIL and recruiting and other things as two of the top kind of programs of the Big 12 as of late. And so it should be fun to see the two schools go head to head, and hopefully there's no Spitgate or anything like that. We can keep it clean and just have a good game.
Yeah, I have them at number 2. I would have Iowa State in this role if the schedule worked out different, but I have Texas Tech at number 2 for those reasons. I think those are the two premier matchups for BYU in the Big 12 this year is Iowa State and Texas Tech. Like I said, I think TCU will become that. But those two are road games. They're tough road games. They're tough environments to play in. I think they will both be very good football teams this year and really good opportunities. If BYU is going to vie for a Big 12 title, it's going to go through Iowa State and Texas Tech. We've got a bye prior to the Texas Tech game, so we get a chance to catch our breath after the Iowa State game, and hopefully that plays in our favor. We're able to pull out a victory.
Here's hoping. I believe in our guys. So my number 2 pick I'm most hyped for is ECU, and that is for all the reason that you said why we shouldn't be hyped for them are completely true. But I'm going to this game, and therefore, by default, it is up near the top. I did not make it to a college football game last year. The last one I attended was that aforementioned West Virginia beatdown. So I'm just excited to be back and see college football, even though the last time I was at an ECU game did not go so well. So yeah, that is just purely for selfish reasons. As you know, that is why I have them at number 2.
Yep. Well, number 1's a no-brainer. It's got to be the rivalry game. I'm really excited for this game this year. We'll have to do a breakdown on Utah later, but it's going to be a strong defense as always. I think their offense is still going to be figuring things out. What's interesting about Devin Dampier, who is the preseason newcomer of the year. Do you know how tall he is? 5'10" if you stretch it. Do you know how much he weighs? 195. I mean, we're talking McKay Hillstead specs on Devin Dampier, and nobody's questioning his durability and his longevity. And I don't know. I don't know how he's going to hold up to Big 12 defenses rattling him around. He threw 12 touchdowns and 12 picks last year, a 57% completion percentage. He is not a thrower. He is incredibly gifted athletically. I mean, he ran for 1,000,000 yards and like 30 touchdowns, whatever the stats are. He is a runner. But how long can that body hold up as a runner in the Big 12? I don't know. They're going to have their hands full putting together a brand new offense with basically him as an extra running back in the game until he proves that he can throw the ball. So I like our chances against that offense, but it's going to be the Utah defense is always going to play, above and beyond an already stellar defense against BYU because they always do.
Yeah, you're right. It is going to be a good one, and I'm just glad it's back in Provo. I really want to make that 3 in a row. But for number 1, I've actually got a different one. I'm picking this one. So
yes,
get that right here. No, obviously.
Very hyped about that game.
Because that's where I plan on us playing. And Carl says the big omission this year is ASU. I'd love to whoop them. Man, I would have loved to have played them last year. I think we would have had a really good shot at not saying we would have necessarily won, but in the Big 12 championship, I think BYU getting another crack at them could have gone differently. And unfortunately didn't get the chance. And so maybe that's where we get the chances this year in the Big 12 championship. But for all the reasons.
ASU's been a really fun budding rivalry. I do wish they would have sort of stoked those flames a little bit more because obviously we want revenge. They don't like us. It's kind of a fun rivalry there in the Big 12. And I wish they would have fomented that a little bit more.
There's another miss. I mean, you think about with basketball not having a home and away with Kansas this year, only playing them one time. Like
I know with the 2 top draft picks. Yeah. It's interesting because I do feel like the first year Brett Yormark and the scheduling, they just nailed it. They really hyped up the right games at the right time. It was very strategic. And this year, you're like, we're kind of missing something here. But we'll see how the season goes.
We will see how it goes. And but anyway, it's another reason why I think conferences are way too big. You don't get the consistency. You're playing different teams. And like Iowa State could have started turning into something, and then you take a break. Where's Baylor? Like that feels like it's something.
I know.
The nice thing is we do see that rematch with Colorado and early in the season too, which is kind of fun because we played them so late last year. But aside from that, and there's only three or is it four protected rivalries in the whole conference. So it's just just too big. Doesn't allow you to pick up momentum and get those rivalries really going where you get to play the same teams every year. So anyway, not so different. I think most BYU fans would probably look at this relatively similarly outside of maybe ECU, a little bit of an outlier here for me. But the truth is, though, I'm hyped for all these games and cannot wait for football to start. In fact, I think they were reporting today practices starting all around campus. And for football, I think women's soccer's back. I think basketball soon. So it's coming. It's soon. Really excited for that. And you know what? We are running late today. We got to cut things short. So we are going to skip the replayables this week. We'll get to that, I think, next week. This was a fun one, though. And go rewatch the games. And then when we get to them next time, you can join in. It's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun watching the highlights with all the games and just remembering the incredible season that was. My only fear is that I'm getting too hyped up for this season because whenever I go into hype, I'm usually disappointed. Whereas last year, I think it was the first time I'd really had my expectations kind of tempered a little bit. Tempered a little bit and
made for a fun season.
Yeah, and it was because everything on top was just gravy, and it just kept going. So I'm trying to not overhype it, but I'm definitely hyped.
The blue goggles are on.
They're on.
It's too late.
Speaking of blue goggles,
set for Heisman.
That's right. I'm looking at this this aerial view of these picks. I'm realizing this looks kind of like the Smurf turf, and that was not intentional. Now that I'm like a bird's eye view, and that is not what I was going for at all. So definitely meant to be BYU. All right, sweet. Well, let us know in the comments which games you are most hyped for, any that you maybe aren't hyped for, but and just how hyped you are for the season, what your expectations are. And we'll get into some more of that as we get into predictions for BYU as well as the Big 12 as a whole as we get closer to the season coming on. So we've got a couple guests, a few if everything works out in the upcoming weeks to some of our friends over at BYU TV and whatnot. So please be sure to like the video, subscribe, come back, check out those conversations we have upcoming. And as always, go Cougs.
Go Cougs.